Video we're going to be talking about layer masks, what they are, how they work. Now layer masks are one of the coolest things Photoshop has to offer. They're invaluable in the way they allow us to make dramatic changes to our image, either the whole image, but usually just one specific part of it, without the fear of damaging it or changing the pixels for good and in the turn ruining our image. They're what allow us to only affect certain areas of our photographs and images. One common example is, say I only wanted to change the color of the canoe. In this image, I can do that by using a layer mask. We'll also see the advantages of using a layer mask as opposed to using the eraser tool when it comes to compositing two separate images together. Like say if we wanted to add a UFO to this image. When it comes to compositing, this is where layer masks really shine and become so useful. So let's actually start off and kind of understand what a layer mask is and how it works. So we're going to use a little image diagram set up here to kind of help us visualize what a layer mask is in a different way. So imagine we hang our photo on the wall. So we have our photo of the truck here and we're going to hang it up on the wall. This is our image. This is just inside of our house. Now picture that we bring in a slide projector into the room. Over here. Now this slide projector is a metaphor. It's resembling our adjustment layers. So those are our curves, our hue, saturation, brightness, contrast, anything like that. Consider those an adjustment layer, which we find right down here in the bottom right of our layers panel. We can open them up right here, or up under layer, new adjustment layer. We can open the different ones up here too. And this is when it creates a layer, something that we can always turn on and off, something that we can always change. So let's say we wanted to make this image really red and really just picture it red. So imagine I take a red slide and stick it into my slide projector and then let it shine onto the wall. Now it changes the way that I see my image. Now my image looks very red. But I can go down here to the little eyeball where it had this adjustment layer on it, and with any adjustment layer or any other layer, I know that I can always turn it on and off, just as I could a slide projector, turning it on and off. I can alter it. I can change the slide, I can put something else in, and so forth. So let's look at this as an example with an image too. Again, I can open up an adjustment layer by coming down here with the curves, or with the little circle. I can open up curves. And then let's just make it darker and let's make it red like our example. Really red. Now, just like before, I can turn this on and off. I can imagine this is my projector right here. Here's the layer with my image on it. Now this is not actually affecting my base image. My pixels are staying exactly the same. It's just changing how we view it. The same way as if we were to hang a picture on the wall and then shine a projector on it. I know that that picture on the wall isn't actually changing when the projector's on. I'm just seeing it differently. So right now when I open up this curve and I made it really red, just imagine I'm shining a red slide onto my image. But what's beautiful about layers and layer masks and saving as a Photoshop file is that I can always come back and tweak this. I can change it. If I didn't like how red it was and I wanted it just to be a little bit less or even more, I can fix that. If later on I decided I didn't like this at all, I can turn it off since it's its own layer, I can go ahead and just throw it away. So let's say I still have this here. Let's actually talk about what a layer mask is now. Now see this little box here, the white box next to my adjustment layer? This is a layer mask. Photoshop knows how cool layer masks are, so they automatically give you one when you open up an adjustment layer. So any curves or hue saturation, anything else you open up, you'll automatically get a layer mask on there. And here's kind of how they work. We'll go back to our diagram. So let's say with this one, we're shining the red onto here. So here's our adjustment layer. Here's our image. This projector is changing how we see our image. Now imagine the layer mask, that little box that was in between, as a window, as a glass window in between the projector and the photograph. That we're shining through it onto my image. Now what would happen to my projection if I were to spread black paint across the glass? I mean, if you imagine it, the projection wouldn't make it through. That black paint would block it. And what in turn would happen is wherever it's blocking it, it will block it in the same place on my image and not allow this red to get through. So it will basically keep the adjustment layer from changing how we see that specific part of the photograph. So let's imagine I paint a black heart on the window. Now I can see where this black heart is it's keeping that red adjustment layer, that red slide in here, it's keeping it from hitting my photograph. But everywhere that's white, consider that area to be clear. If it's white, it's clear, it's letting the adjustment through. So everywhere that I paint black on my mask, or there's black on my mask, it's going to block this adjustment from shining through onto my image. Anywhere there's white, consider that clear, and that's going to get through the window. So let's look at this back again on our car. So I have my layer mask here, and now I want to be sure that I'm actually on the layer mask. See this rectangle right here? When I actually click on the layer mask on this layer, this red layer that I'm affecting, when I click on it, I can see now I have these 4 little corners. That's letting me know that I am on the layer mask now, and I will be affecting this adjustment layer. So if I want to adjust it, I can just use my paintbrush. And all the same tools that I have with the paintbrush, where I can change, if I right click or control click, I can change the size of the brush. I can change the hardness of the brush. And now if I'm on black, if ever you're not set to one of these, you can always go back to the default white and black by clicking the little white and the little black here. You can always switch. So if I don't want to see this effect, this red effect coming over, I need to paint with black on my mask. And when I start doing that, I block out this effect from hitting my image. I can actually see it on my mask everywhere that I painted down here. If I wanted to see it closer up, I can hold Option for Mac, Alt for PC, and actually come down here and click on the mask, and it'll show me exactly where I've painted and what I've painted. So we'll go back a little bit, and let's say I'm just painting in the car. I wanted everything else to look red, or just the ground. And this is sloppy. Over the next couple months, we're going to be really looking at ways to fine-tune masks and make good selections so that only certain areas that you want to be affected get affected. So I can see I left out some of the sky here, or I took out too much from the sky. So if I think about how a mask works, because I painted this black and now I'm blocking it out, if I wanted to see this area, if I wanted this area to actually be red also, that just means I need to paint with white back on my mask and reveal that area. Because I remember the white reveals, it's the clear window, and black will hide it. So let's look at, let's say I wanted to bring in an image, because layer masks work amazing with adjustment layers for changing colors, contrasts, all that stuff. But we, like I said before, we can also use this with compositing and bringing two images together. So let's just drag in a horse in here. And so now when I bring a layer, bring another image in this image, it does not automatically open up with a layer mask like adjustment layers do. I need to add one. And I can do that by going up to Layer, Layer Mask. Reveal All will start me with a white mask. If I chose Hide All, it would start me with a black mask, and I would have to paint in white for areas that I want to see. So we can choose Reveal All, and I'll start one. Another way, if I go back up on my history, another way to do it, if I'm on my layer, right next to my adjustment layers, there's a little box with a circle in it that says Add Layer Mask. Click, and it adds a layer mask in too. And now I can go with my paintbrush. I want to make sure that it's selected with the four corners over here onto my mask. I'll paint with black, and I can start painting out this other area. Now again, we're going to be learning ways to make good selections that make it really easy to cut objects out and people out. But let's say as I'm going around the horse and doing a really good job cleaning him up, I realize I've accidentally cut off his head. Now if I was using the eraser tool, which actually erases and gets rid of pixels and destroys them, and I maybe didn't see this at first, I would have to start over. I would have to re-import it and start over. I don't have a choice. But what I know with a layer mask is that all that information that I've blocked out is still there. It's just not being seen through the projector. The glass is painted black right now. So all I have to do is go back and start painting it white, and it reveals it again. Again, if I want to see my layer mask do anything, it's holding Option or Alt down and clicking on the mask, and I can actually see what's been cut out. So, like I said, over the next couple months, we're really going to be diving into layer masks and really seeing some cool things that can be done with them, and ways to make good selections for our layer masks. But hopefully what you get from this is that layer masks are awesome, and they're going to really help us so we don't degrade the quality of our image, and we always have these options of being able to recover information that otherwise would have been lost if we used other tools like the eraser tool.